Hey guys, so today I'm going to build a mini shelf so that I can store my small cameras. I have a bunch of GoPros, I have a Insta360, so I wanted to make this area next to my desk where I have some storage space. It's actually a very small little plank that I have. This is a wood flooring plank and I thought it would be the perfect size for this. So I'm going to put it somewhere right here and then I can fit my GoPro on there. So that's the idea, really, of this. I'm gonna have to create some brackets here to support the mini shelf. I'll probably just download a model off thingiverse.com and then 3D print them. I'll show you the process of that. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure out how long this shelf should be. So I'm gonna do something like this, and it's gonna be all the way up to here. So I'm gonna get my pen out and make a mark. Make a marker right here. All right, now I'm gonna go to my miter saw and then cut a straight line down here. Here I am at my trusty miter saw. Just gonna cut a straight line down here. All right, that should be the perfect shape for the mini shelf. Alright guys, so now I'm going to download a STL file or a model of a shelf bracket so I could 3D print it. My favorite site to get models from is thingiverse.com. I'll leave a link to this website in the description below. But on thingiverse.com, people make models and upload them, and then you in turn are able to download their models and use them for yourself. Right here you see that I've already done a search for shelf brackets. I'm going to scroll down. And this is the shelf bracket that I want to use in my project. You can see here that 653 people have liked this model, meaning that this model is probably pretty good. If I click here, it brings me to the page where you can download all the files in STL format. When you scroll down, you can see the models. There's also a summary. This bracket was designed to support a heavy cabinet shelf or bookshelf. Countersunk holes are provided to accommodate tapered wood screws. The top hole will allow the shelf to be securely fastened in place. I also angled the hole just slightly to help me get a drill into those tight corners for an easy install. You can go to the files, see comments other people made on this project. So if I go to files, there's only one file included, which is the shelf bracket. When I click download all files, it will download the file and I can import it in my 3D printing program. I typically use Cura 3D for my 3D model printing. I imported the STL file here. You can see it. I'm rotating it. In this program, you can scale it up, scale it down. I'm going to keep it the way it is. I'm printing this with PLA at 210 degrees Celsius. I'm using an infill density of 20%. I would also recommend a build plate adhesion of a raft so that the 3D model does not warp when you're printing it out. Those are pretty much the only settings that I changed for this model. My 3D printer is an Aquila Voxelab X2. It's a clone of the Creality Ender V3. It's a really cheap and affordable 3D printer, so if you're looking for a cheap 3D printer, I highly recommend the Voxelab Aquila X2. I got this thing a few years ago for $199, I think. It's probably even cheaper now. The best thing about this printer is there's a lot of support for it and also a lot of mods for this printer. You can get the parts really cheap. So once you're ready, just slice the model, export the file, upload it to your 3D printer and print it out. And that's the next scene you guys are gonna be seeing. This is a really fast print. This shelf bracket takes around 7 to 8 minutes to fully print out. So to print out 2 shelf brackets, it's gonna take around 14 minutes. I love my 3D printer because you can just print things when you need it. You don't need to go to the store or to Amazon to buy these cheap parts. It gives you a lot of flexibility. This is the finished product right here. It's a really solid build. It looks very clean and very nice. Okay, so these are the brackets that I 3D printed right here. So it's gonna look something like this. I'm gonna have to attach it like this. And then that will attach against this wall right here. Now I just need to find some screws that will screw into this plank without going all the way through. All right, we're in my tool shed right now. Trying to find the perfect screw for this. Actually, I have some M5 screws, but I'm not sure this will slot through. Let's see. Too thick. All right, what about an M3 screw? M3 screw might work. Okay, we're gonna bring this whole M3 screw into the house and see what we can do. Since these are flat screws, I'm gonna have to probably pre-drill a hole. Let's see if this power drill works. And then some drill bits. Let's see which one of these screws, M3 screws, will fit perfectly into this plank. So if I measure this, you see this one is almost the perfect size. If I put the M3 screw into the bracket, it's barely coming out the other side. So maybe I need something a little bit longer. Okay, this one is a little bit longer. Okay, I think something this length might work. So what I'm gonna do is pre-drill a hole in there, but I gotta make sure the hole isn't too deep and it isn't too big. I'm gonna start off small, 5/64. You know what, I have a test piece of plank here, so I'm gonna drill in the test piece of plank. The battery ran out. That was the new battery. See if this fits in there. Definitely not. So let's increase this to 3/32. Still no. I think the next one will fit. Okay, this is 11/64. Okay. As you can see, it's tightening in here, which is good. I can use that to fasten the brackets to this plank. So let me loosen this. This is the actual piece of plank. I'm going to, let's see how I'm going to space these out. I'm going to do something like that. So I'm going to hold this here and then screw a hole in. So far, so good. I feel it tightening. It's definitely biting in the hole. Almost there, a few more turns, and this should tighten up. I don't want to over tighten it because I did 3D print this with only 20% infill. So if I tighten it too much, it could crack the bracket. I say that's pretty good right now. That is on pretty tight. But once we mount that to the back of my cabinet here, I think it should be fine. It shouldn't move. Okay, so far so good. Looks good. I'm gonna drill the hole for the other one. Just eyeing this. Okay, so I'm ready to put on this second piece. I think right there looks good. And then I'm gonna pre-drill another hole. Another M3 screw. Okay, I can feel it biting down now. I had these planks left over from Kelly's condo. Her condo was built in the 1920s and she had some flooring that needed to be replaced. So I had to track down a supplier who had the same type of planks as her 1920s build. After the patchwork, I had a bunch of these left over, so I stored them in case I needed to patch up her floors again. This one was a spare piece that was a short length, so I thought I could repurpose it. Okay, this is what it looks like so far. What I'm going to need to do next is then pre-drill some holes right here, and that way I can screw in the planks. So now I'm going to get a level out of my toolbox so I can level out the shelf on my cabinet. I think that looks good right there, so I'm going to start marking a hole. Now I'm going to pre-drill some holes in here. Okay, so the bad thing about these cabinets is it seems like it's hollow inside, so we'll see how much these M3 screws will grip onto the cabinet. Okay, that side looks good so far. So far you can see what it would look like. Pretty cool. Okay, as you can see the shelf is on. It is pretty tight. That's what it looks like on the side of my shelf. This is a mini shelf, guys. This is like an inch and a quarter maybe. All right, let's do the inaugural test. There you go, that's my GoPro sitting there. I could even have my DJI camera here. I could have that stored there. I have my GoPro stored there. All right, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and it was a pretty easy build. I'll leave a link to these brackets online where you can download them from thingiverse.com. I love thingiverse.com. You can just get plans that other people created, and you can see how many people downloaded them, and that means that they probably like the design. Here's another configuration. You see Pikachu right there and Charmander. They're enjoying this new shelf. So if you want to make a mini shelf of your own, make sure to check out floor planks as an option for you. They're thin, they're sturdy, they're durable, it's wood, it's real wood, it looks very nice. This is white oak. All right, well, I went ahead and built a second shelf. Here you see it. My one shelf wasn't enough storage, so I went and made a second one, and it looks identical to the first one. So now everything fits nicely on both shelves. Well, that's it. I just wanted to show you the quick update. Thanks for watching.